today we will be continuing from the second chapter. Okay, second chapter, first 19 verses we will go through. Okay, so to quickly summarize what we discussed last time, 1 minute. Huh? डाला से last time कैसे? I put it on the group. Okay, sorry. I thought he would have it. Page. One second. Improvement. Hare Krishna. So today we are continuing the second chapter, as I said, of Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto. So last time, just to quickly summarize what we discussed last time, the first chapter, in the fourth canto, Chautha Skand, we have started we have finished 3 cantos and there are 12 cantos. So we can say we finished 25%, but actually we finished only 20% because the 10th canto is very big. The fourth canto, Maitreya Muni, who is having a conversation with Vidura, he describes the family lines of Swayambhu Manu, his descendants, his 3 daughters, his 2 sons. 3 daughters are Devahuti, Akuti, and Prasuti. So Devahuti was the one whom we discussed in third canto. She with Kadamuni, she had 9 daughters and 1 son. And those 9 daughters were married to 9 sages, and their whole lineage is described. Then one of those daughters got married to Atri Muni, and he is specially mentioned in the first chapter because his his 3 sons are the partial representation of this of Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, which is Lord Brahma's partial representation is Soma, then Lord Vishnu's partial representation is Dattatreya, and the partial representation of Lord Shiva is Durvasa Muni. So we discussed that how come all 3 of them appeared like that. So that we discussed, and then after that we went into we discussed. Yeah, then we went into, we spoke about other great descendants who came in that line. So some big names like Agastya Muni, we discussed about Agastya Muni, Brihaspati, who is the guru of the Devatas, Shukracharya, who is the guru of the Asuras, Markandeya Muni, Pulastya, from whose line Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and all these great personalities came. So we discussed all of that. And we discussed one of the reasons why we're discussing all these lineages to understand that we came from these kind of rishis. Ultimately, they procreated, and from that, all the human race spread. We did not come from apes and chimpanzees, as the scientists would have you believe, because the history of the world is described very clearly in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it ended with the last 16th daughter of Daksha getting married, to Lord Shiva. And she gave up her body. It is described that 15 daughters of Daksha were married to different people, and it's mentioned in the end of the chapter that this 16th daughter, which is Sati, she was married to Lord Shiva, but she gave up her body because of her father Daksha insulting her husband Lord Shiva. So this is where the chapter ends. It's like नया चैप्टर के पहले एक हुक छोड़ दिया कि भाई अभी नेक्स्ट टाइम जरूर आना. So like that, this next chapter starts. So over here at the start of the second chapter, Vidura, who is having this conversation, he's very alert. See, a good speaker is very alert. They're very alert. I'm not a good speaker, sorry, good listener. The speaker has to be alert only, but even the audience has to be very alert. So the good audience, they're alert. Like just now, you are alert because I made a mistake. Everyone said, "ये क्या बोल दिया उसने?" We need to be alert. So Vidura is very alert. अरे एक मिनट, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? Because Daksha obviously would be very fond of his daughter, and why would this happen? He's astonished. He's astonished that how come Sati gave up her life. Life is very dear to everyone. Why will she give up her life? Because of a conflict between her father and Lord Shiva. So he is asking questions related to this. He said, how could it be that Daksha was such a loving father, but he ignored his daughter Sati? He ignored her. And if being a loving father, how can he hate her husband, Lord Shiva, when he is actually having so many good qualities? So, first two verses, Vidura starts the chapter by glorifying Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva को पहले he says इतने अच्छे qualities हैं इनमें, इतने अच्छे गुण हैं, तो कैसे कोई उनको hate कर सकता है? How is it possible? But we know how the material world works. We know how the material world works. That if someone has very good qualities, it does not mean that everyone will like them. It doesn't mean. You may be a very, very good person, not harming anybody, किसी का बुरा नहीं किया जिंदगी में, but there are some people who still hate you, who are envious of you, who cannot tolerate you. ऐसा बहुत होता है इस दुनिया में. So he glorifies Lord Shiva by speaking different qualities of Lord Shiva, and then he is wondering that how can a person who has such good qualities like Lord Shiva, how can he be hated by his father-in-law? ये कैसे मुमकिन? So this is the question that Vidura starts the chapter with. And then the rest of the chapter, Maitreya is going to explain kya hua, what happened due to which all this clash, so to say, started. So Vidura says, he is Shilavatam Shreshtham. So Shila means peaceful. Shila. The name Shila actually means peaceful. Okay. So he says he is Shilavatam Shreshtham. He is the best amongst the gentle people. See, in this world today, especially if you look at the world around you, gentle shabd sab log bhul gaye. No one is gentle. Everyone feels that being aggressive, being the alpha male in the room is what is manlyhood. मतलब वो एक aggression दिखाना, क्या समझता है? कौन है तू? हाथ क्यों लगा रहा है? आवाज क्यों दिखा रहा है? आंख क्यों दिखा रहा है? मतलब it's so easy. People's ego is so fragile कि थोड़ा उसमें एक ऐसा तिनका भी लग गया दूध तो करके वो blow up हो जाता है. This is the situation of the material world today, right? So Lord Shiva is known to be very gentle, unless बहुत गुस्सा है, then he becomes angry also. But otherwise, he's very gentle, and amongst the gentle, he's the best. He is also he's also very renounced. He's very renounced because he doesn't even have a home. मतलब कोई व्यक्ति है जिनका खुद का घर, can come this side. ये एसी रिपेयर हो गया? लास्ट टाइम वो वहां से वर्षा हो रही थी, एक्स्ट्रा बोनस. Yeah. So, he's the gentle, best among the gentle. He's also very peaceful and renounced. One of the words that is used by Vidura is Charachara Guru. Charachara means all living entities. Chara, Achara, moving, non-moving. So, moving, non-moving entities, Guru, spiritual master of the whole world. This is what Vidura is calling Lord Shiva. Now, why is he saying this? Because Lord Shiva is also known as Bhutanath. One of the names for Lord Shiva is Bhutanath. Anyone knows why?
Master of all the bhutas.
Of the bhutas, pichachas, the asuras. He is like the master of all of them. And he is very kind and loving towards these bhutas also. Matlab, bhutas are those who are souls who don't have a physical body. They are stuck between two physical bodies because of some terrible sinful activity they have done. They don't have a body. मतलब ना उनको अगला शरीर मिला है ना कुछ पिछला शरीर, दोनों के बीच में अटके हुए हैं, जस्ट स्टक इन बिटवीन, दैट इज द भूतास. So they really need help. And Shiva, he accepts them also. He is so kind. He is so merciful. Okay. So if he is so merciful and he is also Vaishnava, it is said Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Of all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. That means the greatest of the Vaishnavas is Lord Shiva. He is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. This is Lord Shiva. So therefore, because of his quality of not just being a great Vaishnava, but also he's so kind and compassionate that he accepts even the most fallen. See, you try to imagine for a moment, okay? If someone is, some great guru, okay, someone is some great guru, and all big people are, flocking towards that guru to take, his blessings and everything. And someone who is, half mad, आधा पागल आदमी आता है, and he tries to approach that guru. You know, now that guru, if he's not genuine, then what will he do? He will keep him far away, right? But genuine guru is able to accept. We see this in the example of Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada had gone to France for the first time, there was one beggar, one actually drug addict, practically drug addict beggar kind of person, and he was so dirty. He used to live outside the temple, the Paris temple. He used to live outside on the streets, the street guy, and he was so dirty. His hair was dirty, his body was dirty, his clothes were dirty. They used to call him Pigpen. The devotees there would call him Pigpen. Pen is where the pig lives. So Pigpen, he's like a so dirty, pig, dukkar jaisa, swar jaisa, so dirty. Pigpen. So once what happened was, Srila Prabhupada came to that temple, was going to come to that temple. So when he came to that temple, as he was walking towards the temple, the disciples were walking with Srila Prabhupada. Okay, while Prabhupada is walking towards the temple, the disciples were walking with him. Suddenly, out of the bushes, Pigpen jumped out. Pigpen suddenly jumped out and he tried to touch straight away the feet of Prabhupada. Okay? And he's like half crazy, druggo, and completely weird guy, dirty guy. And he's trying to touch the feet of a sadhu. So immediately, the disciples of Prabhupada quickly swooped in, picked him up, and kind of pushed him away. That was close call. Almost Prabhupada को उन्होंने छू लिया ऐसा. And then they went inside the temple. They went inside. As soon as they went inside the temple, again this big pen came from where he came known. He came and he caught Srila Prabhupada's feet. Everyone was trying to catch him, and Prabhupada said, and he ran his hand through the head of Pigpen like this. Very lovingly, he ran his head like that. He said, "It's all right." And that person was mumbling something. And Prabhupada is saying, "It's all right. It's all right." Very lovingly, he was, running his hand through that head. And that person, Pigpen, later became a proper devotee. He distributed books, Prabhupada's books. In the market, he would go. He didn't know how to talk properly. Right? They shaved him up, they cleaned him because Prabhupada ka mercy mil gaya. So they cleaned him up, shaved him up, they made him like a proper, dressed him like a proper devotee. But baat karne ko to aana chahiye. When he went for book distribution, he said, "I'll also go." They said, "Tu kya baat karega? Tu baat karna bhi nahi aata." "No, I want to go, I want to go." And they took him. He went and the first one to jump out of the bus for book distribution, for distributing the books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, like that. So he went and they thought that वो जाएगा वापस आएगा ऐसे ही आएगा, he'll not be able to sell anything. He was the first one back in the bus. Give me more books. So what do you do with the books? So I sold them. So they couldn't believe. ये कुछ खराब काम किया रहेगा. They couldn't believe. Then someone went to him and he would just go to people, give the book in their hand and say, "Prabhupada saved me. Prabhupada saved me." That's all. He was just saying, "Prabhupada saved me." So a really merciful guru, if he wants, he can save anyone. Lord Shiva is like that. That even the most fallen, the most condemned, जिनको कोई देखता नहीं है, उनको शिव जी देखते हैं. So that is why he's, Charachara Guru. Then he says, Nirupagita. He has no envy. Lord Shiva has no envy for anyone. He doesn't get angry unnecessarily. He doesn't feel envious of anybody. He is very happy. Like we see in the pastime of Sagar Manthan. After Sagar Manthan was over, after Sagar Manthan was over, Lord Shiva, just keep it open. So after Sagar Manthan was over, Lord Shiva, he heard, उन्होंने तो कुछ पी लिया था, पर उसके आगे जो हुआ उन्होंने देखा नहीं कि मोहिनी मूर्ति, Lord Vishnu took the form of Mohini Murti and bewildered everyone. Everyone was so bewildered by the beautiful form of Mohini Murti that they, मतलब वो उनके आंखों के सामने Mohini is feeding the Amrit to the Devatas and the Asuras are seeing it and they're not able to act. They're paralyzed by her beauty. So Lord Shiva, he goes to Lord Narayan. He says that, ये मुझे भी देखना है. I also want to see this form, can you show me? And Lord Vishnu says, are you sure? He says, yeah, I want to see. And he sees, when he sees, he gets so bewildered by her beauty that he starts running after her. He starts chasing after her. Forest after forest, mountain after mountain, he's running after her to catch her. And while he's running through the forest, those who are followers of Lord Shiva, there are some ascetics sitting there meditating, Om Namah Shivaya, very, with great austerity they are doing and they are, worshipping Lord Shiva in their mind. And Lord Shiva there is running after Mohini Murti. So Lord Shiva is so pure in his heart. He is so non-envious. He doesn't mind even being humiliated like this. His heart is so pure. That's why Nirvair. Santa Vigraha is always peaceful. Lord Shiva, you see, in any pose, any photos, any pictures, painting, anything you see of Lord Shiva, always in a very peaceful, very peaceful. Atmaram, he's self-satisfied. See, Lord Shiva doesn't even have an abode. Kailash is his abode, but Kailash में उनका कोई घर वर नहीं है, पेड़ के नीचे रहते हुए, he is very happy. And even Mother Parvati, who is serving him, she's also very happy because she is with a person who's Atmaram. So she's also very happy. So he is self-satisfied. Jagato Daivatam Mahat, greatest of all the Devatas. That's why he is called Mahadev. Devataon ke Devata is Mahadev. So Vidura is glorifying like this Lord Shiva in so many wonderful names and adjectives he is applying to Lord Shiva. And then he is wondering कि ऐसे व्यक्ति के साथ कौन गुस्सा हो सकता है, right? So then Maitreya Muni starts the story. Okay, and this is one of the most fascinating stories. मतलब हमने लास्ट टाइम बोला था कि थर्ड कैंटो में बहुत सारा हेवी फिलोसफी था, very heavy philosophy, not so much katha. But here the katha is so ऐसा, very fascinating and very, so like that. So this starts, he says the story starts, okay, there was a yajna that was being done by Daksha, Marichi and Vasishta. They were the three main, persons who are organizing this yajna. Now, who is Daksha? Daksha is a Prajapati. His name Daksha means he is very skilled, very expert. So he's a person who is very expert. Expert in doing what?
Progeny.
In producing progeny. So he is expert in that. Therefore, he is called Daksha. And he is a Prajapati. Now, he is holding a big yajna. Now, in that yajna, all the devatas were there. All the devatas, the fire gods were there, Indra was there, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma were there, then all the rishis, all the great rishis, everyone assembled because Prajapati Daksha is holding a yajna. मतलब जैसे कि अभी to give you a modern analogy, कोई बड़ा like अंबानी का शादी हो गया या उसके घर पे कोई यज्ञ हो रहा है तो सारा शहर वहाँ मौजूद रहेगा. वैसे it was like a very big event and everyone was present. So Daksha, when he walks into that assembly, entry, like Daksha ka entry hota hai usme. He comes into that assembly. As he is entering that assembly, people see him and seeing his effulgence, seeing the effulgence from his body. Mother, you can come in from here. seeing the effulgence from his body, they all stand up. सब खड़े हो जाते हैं. Just because sometimes, you can see when there's someone who's very, very effulgent, someone who's got great tage on their face, great tage in their body. But then I say, look, you can see a few saintly people, you see their body, you can make out. There's some sort of an aura that they have, some sort of a tage that they have. So this person was so effulgent, Hare Krishna, was so effulgent that when he walked into the assembly, everyone stood up. I remember one example, personal example. This is way back in 2004. I used to work for Satyam at that time. So we had gone to GSPC. आप लोग सब GSPC तो जानते होंगे, गुजरात स्टेट पेट्रोल. HPCL, BPCL वाले तो जानते होंगे, कॉम्पिटिटर है. कॉम्पिटिटर नहीं है क्या? चलो ठीक. पेट्रोकेमिकल्स. हाँ, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स जो भी. So GSPC में गया था. We were trying to sell something. ऐसा हम लोग, we were representing Oracle and TCS का जो था, they were representing SAP. Okay. So we were all sitting रूम में. वो जो टेंडर जब खुलता है, मतलब टेंडर का पहला जो क्लैरिफिकेशन मीटिंग होता है ना, क्लैरिफिकेशन का प्री बिड मीटिंग में सब बैठे, ऐसा बड़ा लंबा टेबल, वो बोर्ड मीटिंग वाला टेबल, लंबा टेबल. एक साइड पे थोड़े सत्यम वाले, थोड़े TCS वाले, थोड़े IBM वाले, सब ऐसे लाइन में ऐसा बैठे. एंड आई वाज सिटिंग देयर. आई वाज वन ऑफ द गाइस फ्रॉम सत्यम, सेल्स वाला. मैं वहां बैठा हूं. एंड देन GSPC people came in. They walked in. Okay, there were 4-5 of them. They came and sat at the table. And after they came and sat at the table, at the end, after they sat, डिस्कशन जब स्टार्ट हो रहा था, तभी दरवाजा खुला और एक ऐसा ग्रे हेयर्ड जेंटलमैन, ही वॉक्ड इन और सब खड़े हो गए. GSPC वाले भी खड़े हो गए. तो मैंने किसी को ऐसा टैप किया, कौन है? GSPC का कोई बड़ा आदमी है क्या? तो नहीं, ये TCS का आदमी है. TCS का आदमी कोई आया था, सीनियर आदमी आया था. सब लोग खड़े हो गए. तो मुझे तो वहीं पर समझ गया, नींद तो गया. Imagine if just seeing him, because he is such a respectable personality, seeing him only, everyone got up. So you can see sometimes that some people have it in them, that the moment they walk into a room, people feel like standing up, just as a mark of respect. Like we see, we just came back from Yatra, Kartik Yatra. We had gone to Govardhan near Vrindavan. We had all gone there. So when we came back from the Kartik Yatra, in the Kartik Yatra, every day we would see that 4:30 to 5:30 around, Kirtan chalta tha in the pandal. Not 10,500 people in that pandal. You imagine 10,500 devotees all sitting in that pandal, waiting for one person to arrive. So they are all waiting for His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to arrive. And when Maharaj arrived, everyone, all 10,500 people stood up. Everyone stands and they wait. They wait till he comes inside the pandal. He pays obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. He pays obeisances to a deity. Goes and takes a seat. That's when everyone sits down. So ये हमारा sanskar है. This is the sanskar that is there in this country, that when a great personality walks in, everyone stands up as a mark of respect, that great personality has walked in. I'm sorry, many great personalities walked in right now, but I couldn't stand up because I am speaking, so please don't be offended. तो आप लोग मेरे को Daksha जैसा, what Daksha is going to do now, मेरे पे भी कर दोगे, sorry. So yeah, when this is our sanskar, this is our culture. When a great personality walks into a room, everyone stands up, and they don't stand up and immediately sit. They wait. So it is described over here that the Devatas, the Rishis, everyone stood up in their place as if ready to give their place. आप मेरी जगह पे बैठो. उस तरह का एक respect for Daksha. She was greatly being honored. Can you imagine? In a sabha where Indra is there, great rishis are there, so many people are there. In that sabha, everyone is standing up to respect him. Respect मिल रहा है ना, जबरदस्त. However, only 2 people in that whole assembly didn't stand up. Only two people. One was Lord Brahma, who is the father of Daksha. अभी फादर क्यों खड़ा होगा बच्चा आएगा तो फादर तो नहीं खड़े होंगे तो ब्रह्मा didn't stand up on seeing him. The other person who didn't stand up was Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva didn't stand up. Okay. So now Daksha, even after he came, his own father Brahma, he welcomed him, ऐसे बहुत प्यार से उनको ऐसा इनवाइट करके उनको अपने जगह पे बिठाया. Was invited, please come, this is your seat. His own father. But he's such a respectable personality, इतना मतलब great personality है कि खुद father ने आके उनको वो respect दिया कि आप आके यहाँ पे बैठो. Now, before he takes his seat, our Daksha becomes very, very offended. Okay, he sees that Lord Shiva is sitting and not showing any respect to him. Okay, so immediately his anger flared up. Immediately, he became so angry. So you have to understand, Daksha's daughter Sati is married to Shiva. अभी अगर कोई फादर इन लॉ आता है तो कन्वेंशनल क्या होता है? व्हाट इज द कन्वेंशनल थिंग? यू हैव टू शो रिस्पेक्ट. आई मीन बेटी का पिताजी है, मतलब अपना अपना जीवन खराब नहीं करना है बाय डिसरिस्पेक्टिंग. सो conventional, we stand up, we respect, we touch the feet. That is our culture again. Our culture, you see an elder, you touch the feet of that person. That is the culture. Now, he didn't do it. He just continued sitting there. And now imagine कि एक दक्ष है जो आया है, वहां पे सैकड़ों लोग बैठे हैं, सब खड़े हो गए as a mark of respect. So much respect. But one person didn't respect him, or at least he felt that way. And what happened? His ego got upset. His ego got hurt. And this is the nature of egos. In this chapter, I mean, these coming chapters teach us so many lessons. इतने मतलब गाल सूज जाएंगे झापड़ खा खा के. इतने lessons हैं इसमें. So much to learn. You know that our scriptures are not just some empty stories. Oh, बच्चों को सुनाओ हमारी चित्र कथा. No. These stories are full of lessons. We can learn so much from just trying to understand what the acharyas want us to understand from these beautiful pastimes. So, nature of ego. Even though everyone in the room is respecting you, if one person is disrespecting, you are highly offended. Just think about it. हमारा भी यही situation है. अगर रूम में सब लोग एकदम प्यार से सुन रहे, लेक्चर अच्छे से सुन रहे, एक व्यक्ति कोई ऐसा बार बार स्कोर देख रहा है, आज मैच चल रहा है तो सब लोग स्कोर देख रहे हैं, तो द ईगो ऑफ द पर्सन इमीडिएटली ऐसा है वो ईगो को दबाने का कोशिश करते हैं हम लोग बहुत ज्यादा. कि टू शो कि नहीं हम तो वैष्णव हैं, हम तो बड़े हम्बल हैं, हम तो नम्र हैं. लेकिन क्या होता है करके बोल के जैसा वो बाहर आ जाता है. The whole ego that we are pretending to show that we are such humble Vaishnavas, the moment someone says something that goes against our nature, that goes against something which we believe is correct, that goes against something which we believe we deserve, immediately the ego starts. The Rakshas jeta bahar aata hai wo. And this is what happens with Daksha. Everyone is respecting him. Just one person didn't respect him. But he didn't disrespect him. ऐसा नहीं कि disrespect किया कि कौन है तो right? ऐसा कुछ नहीं. Lord Shiva was sitting with his eyes closed. He just didn't observe that Daksha has come. So therefore, there's no question of disrespect. He felt disrespect. Isn't this true? Many a time, people see, because their ego is so fragile. The ego is so fragile that मैंने कुछ बोला भी नहीं, कुछ किया भी नहीं, तो ऐसे क्यों देखा मेरे को? क्या है? Like Bombay is becoming more and more like Delhi. Delhi में कैसा है? Delhi बॉम्बे मोर एंड मोर लाइक दिल्ली। दिल्ली में कैसा कोई किसी को देखता भी है, क्या देख रहा है, इमीडिएट, मतलब इन 3 seconds if you look at somebody, क्या देख रहा है, क्या है, immediate, right? That's how fragile people's egos are. Now, there is no disrespect, but because I am expecting that everyone over here, I am superior to everybody. सब लोग मेरे को यहाँ पे रिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए। अगर मेरा ये उम्मीद है, आई कैन नेवर बी हैप्पी। चलो हो गया लिख। ठीक है पॉकेट में जा रहा है तो स्टूडेंट थोड़े टाइम के बाद रिफिल करना पड़ेगा। All right. So yeah, so actually if you see, Lord Shiva is not expected to provide respect or to offer respect. He's not expected. Why? Srila Prabhupada explains first that he is amongst the principal devatas. We just discussed. He is Mahadev. Amongst all the devatas, he is the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. They are practically on the same level as Lord Vishnu. So there is no question, but they are, मतलब ऐसा कोई अभी कोई रास्ते पे कोई एक छोटा मोटा some छोटा मोटा बिजनेसमैन इज पासिंग एंड मुकेश अंबानी वॉक्स बाय हिम, क्या मुकेश अंबानी मेरे को रिस्पेक्ट नहीं किया, मेरे को एक्नॉलेज भी नहीं किया, कौन है, तुमको पहचानता भी नहीं है, why will he? It's not that Lord Shiva is thinking like that, but if we look at it objectively, Lord Shiva is in a much more elevated position. Spiritually, materially, every way you look at it, he is much more elevated than Daksha. It's just that he has taken the position of being son-in-law of Daksha. He is married his daughter. But other than that, from any other standing, Lord Shiva is superior. So he is not expected to, offer respect to him. Second reason, later on, this comes in the next chapter. This will come when Lord Shiva is speaking to Sati, to his wife. He explains to her that why I didn't stand up. He was willing to stand up actually. उनको ऐसा कुछ ये नहीं था. See, if you see those who are genuine devotees, genuine, जिनका heart pure है, जिनमें कोई ego नहीं है, those who are really humble from the heart, they see any devotee, they offer respect immediately. उनको नहीं लगता कि अरे ये इसको मैं भक्ति में लेके आया है, बच्चा है, कल का बच्चा, मैं इसको क्या रिस्पेक्ट दूँ? No, they don't feel that. They say Hare Krishna, they say Hare Bol, they pay obeisance to everyone, to all devotees. So Lord Shiva was not sitting because he felt that, hey, इसके सामने क्या मैं खड़ा रहूं? He would have stood up. But actually in his heart, he was deep in meditation. He was, Lord Shiva, if you see, most of the time he's in meditation, meditating on Supreme Lord. He was meditating and he was in spiritual ecstasy. Therefore, he did not, आया, वो भान ही नहीं, उनको समझा ही नहीं कि वो आए हैं, that Daksha has come. So he didn't stand up. So therefore, Daksha's getting angry is actually completely unjustified. Completely unjustified. But when he gets angry, how he starts criticizing Lord Shiva, this is a lesson in itself. There are a lot of lessons we can learn from this. So, as I said, in the Gita it is mentioned, right? For one who is, honored, dishonor is worse than death. For one who's been honored, dishonor is worse than death. It's like किसी को बहुत बहुत मान सम्मान मिला है, सडनली किसी ने उसको डिसरिस्पेक्ट किया, अब देख रहे हैं सबके सामने ऐसा इंसल्ट किया, बहुत उनका ईगो हर्ट हो जाता है. So, moment his ego was hurt, what was his reaction? He said, I have to put this person in his place. So he didn't think कि कौन है ये व्यक्ति, ये शिवजी है, महावैष्णव है, महादेव है, मतलब he is not even from the material world. Lord Shiva actually he doesn't belong to the material world. He is practically like Lord Vishnu only. Just little difference. Like it is described in the Brahma Samhita that what is the difference between milk and dahi? Milk and dahi is practically same only, but they're different. Because dahi से ही दूध से ही दही आता है. लेकिन by some small modification milk becomes dahi. So in same way, Lord Narayan and Lord Shiva are practically almost the same. But because Lord Shiva chooses to associate with the Lord with mode of ignorance, therefore he is in what position he is. Now, he first starts by pacifying the assembly. मतलब पहला सबको अपने साइड पे ले लो ताकि अभी मैं जो बोलने वाला हूं आप लोग को समझे कि ये जो मैं कहने वाला हूं ये एकदम सही है. दिस इज एकदम करेक्ट. दैट आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक अबाउट द मैनर्स ऑफ अ जेंटल पर्सन. दिस पर्सन इज नॉट जेंटल, इज नॉट अ जेंटलमैन. आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक अबाउट द मैनर्स ऑफ अ जेंटल पर्सन. And he says, I do not speak out of any ignorance or envy. जैसे कि कोई कोई बोलता है ये मत सोचना कि मैं कोई गुस्से में या कोई ईर्ष्या के साथ बोल रहा हूं. ये मत सोचना, मैं तो सिर्फ फीडबैक दे रहा हूं. मैं चाहता हूं कि ये व्यक्ति सुधर जाए. यू नो वी आल्सो टॉक लाइक दिस. हम लोग ऐसे ही बात करते हैं. जब हम लोग को किसी को फीडबैक देना होता है तो हम लोग ऐसे ही बात करते हैं. पहले हम लोग सेटिंग करते हैं, सेटिंग, ताकि सामने वाले को मतलब दे आर ऑलरेडी मेंटली प्रिपेयर्ड कि अभी आने वाला है मिसाइल. यू नो लाइक अ हस्बैंड टेलिंग द वाइफ और वाइफ टेलिंग हस्बैंड मुझे तुमसे कुछ बात कर. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, वो टेंस हो जाते हैं. हस्बैंड बिकम्स टेंस और वाइफ बिकम्स आई नीड टू टॉक टू यू. अब क्या होने वाला है, राइट? सो वी आल्सो डू दिस. डोंट फील ये दक्ष ने किया हम तो यार. नहीं, ये सारे चीज जो दक्ष कर रहे हैं ना ये सब हम लोग भी करते हैं. यू नो आई एम स्पीकिंग टू यू एज अ वेल विशर. स्पीकिंग टू एज अ वेल विशर. वो वेल विशर बोला ना तो भी समझ जाओ कि अभी लाफे पड़ने वाले हैं धपाधप, राइट? और आई थिंक यू नीड टू नो दिस. आई डोंट वांट टू से, लेकिन मतलब मुझे बोलना नहीं आता, मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगता ये सब बोलना, लेकिन अभी मुझे आपने मजबूर कर दिया बोलने की. ये सब बोलते हैं ना हम लोग, डायलॉग बोलते हैं कि नहीं? हाँ, आई डोंट नॉर्मली से दीज थिंग्स. Your behavior, what to do, you're forced me. I have to say no. So these kind of things is done by people who want to say something nasty, but don't want their impression to be spoiled. मेरा नाम मेरा मेरा पगड़ी ऊंचा रहे हमेशा, मुझे कोई गलती ना ढूंढ पाए. उसीलिए मैं सबको बता रहा हूं, देखो ये व्यक्ति कितना डिसरिस्पेक्टफुल है, बस उसको सुधारने के लिए. नहीं तो किसी को समझेगा नहीं फर्क क्या है बिटवीन अ जेंटल पर्सन एंड नॉट सो जेंटल पर्सन. पीपल शुड अंडरस्टैंड ना. यू नो हाउ पीपल जस्टिफाई देयर रूड बिहेवियर, हाउ दे जस्टिफाई दैट. लोगों को समझ में कैसे आएगा अगर किसी ने करेक्ट नहीं किया तो? किसी को तो करेक्ट करना चाहिए कि नहीं? बोलते हैं ना हम लोग ऐसे, बच्चों को भी बोलते हैं हम लोग. अगर मैंने इसको ठीक से नहीं समझा तो उसको समझ जाएगा. आप आपने ठेका नहीं ले रखा है उसको ठीक करने का, कोई भी हो. यू नो सो यू नो वन ऑफ द थिंग्स आई ऑलवेज से दैट don't offer advice. Don't offer advice unless asked for. Someone asks you for advice, no, then also you should hesitate to offer advice. So the problem with offering advice is what? क्या problem है किसी को advice करने में? What do you think? Huh? If they don't follow, you will get hurt. अरे मैंने इतना समझाया फिर भी आपने फॉलो नहीं किया, you may get hurt. Then what else can go wrong? कैसे? तुम कौन होते हो मुझे बताने वाले? अपने आप को समझते क्या हो तुम? अक्खा दिन सबको एडवाइस देते फिरते हो, उसका ही हो सकता है. What else can go wrong? They follow the advice and things go wrong. हाँ? तुम ना अपने पत्नी के साथ ऐसा बर्ताव करो, और वो करता है, एंड देन पूरा अग्नि वैसा तेल जैसा फैल जाता है घर में. हाँ, तूने ऐसा बोला, उसने मैंने क्या, मुझे क्या मालूम, मैंने तो ऐसे बोला, ऐसे बोला था. यू नो तो एडवाइस देना ना इज इन जनरल अ वेरी डेंजरस थिंग. बहुत डेंजर. सबको अच्छा लगता है वो परामर्श देना ना, सबको अच्छा लगता है. इट इज इररेजिस्टिबल. यू नो आई हैड दिस एक ये था, क्या बोलते हैं, एक कार्ड छोटा, कॉलेज के टाइम में छोटा सा कार्ड था, उस पे लिखा था टेक माय एडवाइस. टेक माय एडवाइस I am not using it. Take my advice, I am not using. मतलब मेरा advice लो, मैं खुद उसको यूज नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बट आप उसको यूज करो, मत करो, stay away. ये सब ज्ञान देना लोगों को, लोगों की मैं तुमको सुधारना चाहता हूँ, अरे वो सुधर जाएगा, वो आपका काम है क्या सुधारना? आर यू देयर टीचर, आर यू देयर पेरेंट, आर यू देयर सुपरवाइजर? इफ नॉट, then keep yourself. There's no need. There was no need for Daksha to say any of this. अभी दक्षा जो बोलता है उसका परिणाम क्या निकलता है वो आगे के चैप्टर में देखेंगे, बट लेट्स सी व्हाट ही सेज. ओके, दैट्स व्हाई वी स्टार्टेड विद ग्लोरिफिकेशन ऑफ लॉर्ड शिवा, बिकॉज़ अभी उसका निंदा होने वाला है. बट आवर आचार्य आर सो इंटेलिजेंट. हमारे जो आचार्य हैं, प्रीवियस आचार्य से पूर्व आचार्य हैं, उन्होंने तात्पर्य लिखे, जो पर्पट्स टीका लिखा है ऑन द श्रीमद् भागवतम वर्सेस. They explain that whatever the demons said criticizing, like when Hiranyaksha criticizes Lord Varadev, the acharyas use those words to glorify the Lord. So they find a way to glorify everything. This is like Mother Saraswati is using those particular words through this person, जिसको हम लोग उसका अलग meaning भी निकाल सकते हैं. So first this man, he says, I speak not out of ignorance or envy. Okay, and then he starts glorifying. He starts precisely doing what precisely what he was doing. He's saying, I am not speaking out of ignorance. He was speaking out of ignorance. He said, I'm not speaking out of ignorance, but he's speaking out of ignorance. He doesn't know who Lord Shiva is. He doesn't know the position of Lord Shiva. He is completely ignorant about him. Just out of envy, ignorance and envy, he starts criticizing. But he says, I am not speaking out of that. So how does he do it? So first thing he says, better, sit. Now we can close the door. Yeah. So बंद नहीं हो रहा है क्या दरवाजा?
जब आने के लिए
अभी और आने वाला है क्या? 7:40 हो गए. Okay. So he says, the first thing he says is, Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of the governors of the universe and has polluted the path of gentle manners because he is shameless. He does not know how to act. मतलब कैसे हम करना है? बेसिकली खड़ा रहना है और मेरे को रिस्पेक्ट करना है, उसको मालूम नहीं है, बेशर्म है, उसके लिए वैसे एक्ट कर रहा है. He starts like that. And our acharyas explain, that each time he uses the word shameless, nirapatrapaha. Okay, but how they say is it can also be translated as maintains the shelterless. Those who have no shelter, उनको maintain करता है शिवजी. उनको maintain करते हैं शिवजी. Then Yashogna. Yash means fame. So he destroyed the fame of the Lokapala. Lokapala means the controllers of the universe who are all sitting here. उनका नाम खराब कर दिया by sitting amongst them. ये हमारे साथ बैठता है उस तरह का. So he calls him Yashogna. And the acharyas explain Yashogna means by his own fame, Lord Shiva derides the fame of the others. जैसे कि अगर कोई लाइट है, ब्राइटली जल रहा है, तो उसके सामने 1000 वाट का बल्ब आ जाए तो क्या हो जाता है? तो 100 वाट का बल्ब जो है उसका वैल्यू चला जाता है, कोई इसको देखता नहीं है. You're not able to see it. ठीक है, keep it open. Yeah. Then after that he starts ramping up. मतलब क्या होता है ना कि गुस्से में लोग पहला कुछ बोल जाते हैं, ऐसे एक मुंह से एक कटु शब्द निकल जाता है, something nasty, something mean, something spoken in anger comes out of the mouth. After that, what is the next thing that happens? When we are angry, it says na that Dayato Visham Pumsam Sangaste Upajayate Sangar Sanjayate Kama Krodho Vijayate. Krodha Gavati Sammuha. You get, you start getting, you lose your intelligence. Smriti Vibhrama, Smriti Pramshat, Buddhi Nasha, Pranashati. So Bhagavad Gita describes the whole anatomy of the fall down. So over here, when you are angry and you said something to a person, आपने दो शब्द बोल दिया, आप शब्द बोल दिया आपने, उसके बाद आपका जी भरता है क्या? जी नहीं भरता है। तो हमको क्या लगता है कि मैं इतना सब बोल दिया, इस पे कुछ असर नहीं हो रहा है, सर नेक्स्ट सेकंड गियर में लेके जाते हैं। तो सेकंड गियर में लेके गया, तो ही सेज, he starts criticizing the physical attributes of Lord Shiva. He says, मरकट जैसी इसकी आंखें हैं, his eyes are like a monkey, and he has got married to my daughter who's got eyes like a true, like a baby deer, beautiful हिरन के जैसे आंखें होती है ना, वैसे मेरी बेटी सती की आंखें हैं, और ये मरकट जैसे आंखों वाला शिव जी जो है, उसका मेरी बेटी के साथ शादी हो गया। हाँ, और वो कहते हैं he grants the and the Acharya say that he actually grants the desires of monkey like materialists. तो लॉर्ड शिवा इज नोन एज अशुतोष, और एक नाम है शिव जी का which is अशुतोष। अशुतोष मीन्स व्हाट? शीघ्र प्रसन्न होने वाले, वेरी इजीली प्लीज्ड। इट्स नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू प्लीज लॉर्ड शिवा। लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा भयंकर तपस्या, आज सुबह भागवतम क्लास में नंद दुलाल प्रभु spoke about तपस्या। Anyone heard today morning Bhagavatam class? Yeah, very beautiful class, very beautiful class. I recommend everyone here. They spoke about tapasya. So this what do they say? Ashutosh, हाँ, he is Ashutosh. He is very easily pleased. ब्रह्मा जी not so easy. Lord Krishna very difficult. बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ता है भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए। शिव जी not difficult at all, easily प्रसन्न हो जाते हैं। He is Ashutosh. So therefore the Acharya says monkey-eyed, no, he grants the desires of monkey-like materialists. Materialist means what? हम सब, मतलब हम सब जो हम लोग जो इस मोह माया के जाल में प्रेम से उलझे हुए हैं, जब हमें लगता है कि हम लोग इससे निकल गए, नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं निकले, अभी भी पूरी तरह से मटेरियलिस्टिक है हम लोग। सो इफ यू आर अ मटेरियलिस्टिक पर्सन and you still have a lot of material desires, if you approach Lord Shiva, he gets pleased fast. So a lot of people, therefore you see, हमेशा हमारा मंदिर जो है राधा गोपीनाथ मंदिर और बाबुलनाथ एक ही लेन में, जहां अपना लेन खत्म होता है वहां पे बाबुलनाथ चालू होता है। बाबुलनाथ के बाहर लाइन देखो आप, और राधा गोपीनाथ के बाहर लाइन देखो। राधा गोपीनाथ का लाइन सिर्फ साल में एक बार लंबा होता है, जन्माष्टमी के दिन, बाकी टाइम में लाइन छोटा होता है। शिव जी का तो हमेशा सोमवार को जाके देखो, बाबुलनाथ में लाइन बाहर तक आई रहती। There's always full line because Lord Shiva, he grants material desire. Krishna doesn't grant material desires. He grants what you need. He doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you need for your purification. So like that. Then he says, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. So अभी वो अपना किस बात पे गुस्सा हुए हैं वो बता रहे हैं कि मुझे इसको करने के लिए खड़े मेरे जैसा व्यक्ति, हाउ सो ये जो हम लोग जिन्होंने भी अपने बचपन से हिंदी फिल्में देखी हैं, सारी हिंदी फिल्में में यही प्रिंसिपल रहता है कि वो विलन रहता है, वो विलन को कोई कुछ इंसल्ट करता है, हीरो कुछ इंसल्ट करता है, उसका ईगो उठ जाता है, बोलता है जानता है मुझे, एंड देन दैट गोज ऑन फॉर उसका ईगो थ्रूआउट द फिल्म। लाइक गब्बर को वो पकड़ लेता है, तो उसका ईगो इतना हर्ट होता है कि वो सारे फैमिली को उड़ा देता है, एंड देन उसका वो ईगो इतना हर्ट होता है कि ही क्विट्स हिज लाइफ मिशन टू किल गब्बर। तो ये लाइफ है, दिस इज लाइफ, एवरीवन इज वर्किंग लाइक दिस, अपना ईगो पकड़ के, ये पकड़ के, ये, so this is how he is expressing his ego. Okay, that how dare he not respect a person like me who is his superior. Daksha is thinking that I am superior to Lord Shiva, I am his father-in-law, therefore I am superior, I am a Prajapati. शिवा का क्या पोजीशन है? कोई उनका कोई सेवा ही नहीं है, आई एम प्रजापति, सो आई एम सुपीरियर, आई एम द यजमान इस यज्ञ, सो आई एम सुपीरियर। सो ही इज मेकिंग ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ कैलकुलेशंस इन हिज माइंड टू जस्टिफाई हिज एक्शन। We all do it. When we are angry, when our ego is hurt, our mind keeps making mental calculations, justifying why what you are doing is correct. जो आप कर रहे हो बिल्कुल सही है. Mind is telling you नहीं नहीं सही है ऐसा ही बोलते जा तू सही बोल रहा है तू इसी लाइन में जा. Mind is telling you all these things. In reality, it is all rubbish. It is all rubbish. So in today's world also we see this. Politicians are like this. That वो जब स्टेज पे आता है उसको जो हार पहनाया जाता है उसमें कुछ गलती हो गया तो वो व्यक्ति गया. कंपनी में बड़े बड़े जो एग्जीक्यूटिव होते हैं उनके सामने कोई व्यक्ति आके सर नहीं बोला, that is enough to hurt their ego. See how fragile people's ego has become in today's world. सर नहीं बोला या थोड़ा सा एक क्वेश्चन पूछा, सर should we be doing it this way? कल का बच्चा मेरे को बता रहा है. No, because of ego, all of us have lost the ability to take feedback, to become better, to improve things in this world. No one wants to do it. आप बोल के देखो, कोई आपका बाइक से आपका गाड़ी का लेन काट दिया, आपने जोर से हॉर्न बजाया, उसको मालूम है गलती उसका है, वो गाड़ी से उतर के क्या है और क्या बजाता है, do क्या एक. This is the world we live in today. Slightest flicker of touch to that fragile ego, immediately that ego breaks. Volcano जैसा सब कुछ सब आ रहा है. Yeah, so this is the world we live in today. Politicians, executives, big people, ego, not able to tolerate any insult to their ego. Even devotees need to be very careful. Devotees or aspiring devotees like all of us need to be very careful. See what happens now when we come to Krishna consciousness after some years in this moment. Okay, we stop aspiring for too many material things. यार बड़ा घर हो, बड़ी गाड़ी हो, बहुत बैंक बैलेंस हो, स्विट्जरलैंड में हॉलिडे हो, ये सब थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. पूरा नहीं जाता है, डोंट वरी, चिंता मत करो, रहेगा. बट आप लोग भी चिंतित हो रहे हैं, फिर मेरे को रहना ही नहीं है, अभी निकल जाता हूँ. नहीं रहेगा, वो इट विल नॉट गो सो इजीली, बट वो कम हो जाता है. वो जो अल्टीमेट जैसा जलता है ना, मटेरियल डिजायर, वो कम हो जाता है. बट इन इट्स प्लेस, मतलब कोई अगर आप इन अ रूम इफ यू टेक आउट समथिंग, in a vacuum situation, take out something else enters. So material things का अगर आपका कम हो भी जाए, but subtle level पे, at the mind level, पूजा लाभ प्रतिष्ठा, पूजा, people should worship me, लाभ, I should be seen as someone very great, प्रतिष्ठा, I should be honored, I should be respected, that feeling that I must be respected, everyone must respect me, मेरे को देख के सब लोग ऐसा नीचे सर झुकाना चाहिए. वो जो पूजा लाभ प्रतिष्ठा है ना, और devotees, it is very dangerous, because when you become devotee ना, आपको रिस्पेक्ट बहुत इजीली मिल जाता है, बहुत इजीली. दो शब्द बोल दिए ऐसे प्रवचन में बैठ के, लेक्चर दिया, क्या बात है यार, क्या कीर्तन करते हो आप यार, तो बस आंख बंद करके हमारा यहाँ पे ऐसे लड्डू फूट रहे अंदर, वाह वाह वाह, कितना अच्छा लग रहा है. We are just so happy when people praise us. We become so, and then we crave for those things. See, it's one thing that someone praised you, you take it, we pass it. See, we are trained. That moment someone praises you, immediately say, all glories to Guru and Gurudev, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. This is what we are trained, that we immediately pass on. कोई गार्लेंड में डालता है विषय श्री गुरुदेव की जय, एट द एंड ऑफ द लेक्चर विषय जय जय गुरुदेव, मतलब ऑल ग्लोरीज टू गुरुदेव, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू प्रभुपाद, बिकॉज़ ये मेरा नहीं है, नहीं उनका दिया हुआ चीज आपको खाली आई एम हैंडिंग ओवर टू यू. बट स्टिल द ईगो इज नॉट सो इजी टू कॉन्कर. वो आपको बताएगा कि हाँ आप सही में अच्छा बात करते हो, यू आर गिफ्टेड, आपके जीवन में सरस्वती का वास है. आपको कोई आके बोलेगा अरे नहीं क्या बात कर रहे हो प्रभु जी, बट मन ही मन यार बात तो सही कह रहा है, कितना अच्छा बात करता हूं मैं. We become so egoistic. We forget why we came in bhakti. because they are getting this जो materially जो नहीं मिल पाया यहाँ पे मिल रहा है, चलो कोई बात नहीं यार, materially I'm not so successful, but look at what I am getting as a devotee, क्या position मिला मेरे को, सब मेरे को आके मेरे से धट्टा करते हैं, तो ईगो के लिए भयानक कुछ है वो. So be very, very careful. When this happens, what happens? We then tend to spend time with those who are always feeding our ego, those who praise us, those who say good things about us, those who have nothing but good things to say about us. हम लोग उन्हीं के साथ ज्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, और जो हमारे इक्वल्स हैं या जो सुपीरियर्स हैं के साथ हम लोग टाइम स्पेंड नहीं करते. वी फील आई डोंट नीड टू. ये सब इतने लोग हैं जो मेरे से सुन के इतना भक्ति में प्रगति कर रहे हैं, मैं तो ग्रेट हूं. These thoughts start coming in the mind, and you don't want to spend time with people who will tell you, प्रभु क्या कर रहे हो आप, ये जपा हो रहा है आपका ऐसे, this is your chanting. Only a friend can tell you, only an equal can tell you, no. Someone who is junior to you will not dare to tell you, because वो मालूम नहीं ईगो भयंकर है. कोई बोलेगा तो ये जब, तो पैदा भी नहीं होता तभी से मैं भक्ति में, इमीडिएट आंसर आएगा, तो वो नहीं बोलेगा. Only our equals and our seniors can tell you. So then we tend to avoid those people. See how subtly Maya knows. His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj had once given a very, very famous class है, Maya knows your ins and outs. मतलब आपका अंदर बाहर जो है माया अच्छी तरह से जानती है, कब किधर अटैक करना है. She will not attack you where you are strong. You know, आपका सेंस कंट्रोल बहुत स्ट्रांग है, वहां पे नहीं अटैक करेगी. She will attack you here, subtle. No ego, false ego पे वहां पे अटैक करेगी. So like that. So even devotees need to be so careful with what, you know, what get, why we have come here. हम लोग इस कमरे में क्यों आए, क्यों बैठे हैं हम लोग यहाँ पे. Think about it for a moment. Why are we here? Huh? And I'm grateful to all of you who came, because I know that there's a World Cup final going on, and some of you may be wanting to be there, but still you came here. I'm very grateful to you. But now that you have come here, think about why you come here. क्यों आए हैं आप? Those who are online, why have you come? Why have you joined? We have joined because we are here to listen to Hari Katha, to listen to the glories of the Lord, to listen to the glories of Lord's devotees, to understand that क्या मैं, अरे यार ये पूरा मेरा ऑटोबायोग्राफी पढ़ रहा है, ये सारे क्वालिटी, ये सारे अवगुण मेरे अंदर है. This is why we are here. But sometimes we come here also and we seek the same things that we are seeking outside. Like that. So then he starts, he says, I had no desire to give my daughter to this person. ये मेरी इच्छा थी, but I was obliged. He says, I was obliged to do so. By whom? By Brahma ji, by his own father. Father ने ये रिश्ता लेके आया कि तुम जो है अपनी सती जो है you give to Shiva. So अभी वो और एक लेवल ऊपर लेके जा रहे हैं. देखो क्या होता है ना, ईगो जब हर्ट होता है, पहले तुम उस व्यक्ति पे बरस रहे हो, फिर उसको थोड़ा इंसल्ट करना चालू करते हो, फिर उसके आजू बाजू लोग जो दिख रहे हैं ना, उनको भी ले लो उसपे, उनके ऊपर भी बरसना चालू कर देते. वो भी ऐसी है, यू नो, बच्चे के ऊपर बरस रहे, बच्चे के ऊपर बरस रहे कि तू ऐसा चालू हो जाता है. एंड देन आफ्टर सम टाइम मतलब यू रन आउट ऑफ थिंग्स टू से, क्या और क्या बोलूं, मतलब ऑलरेडी ज्ञान दे दिया आधा घंटे के लिए, तो अभी मैं क्या वाइफ पे बरसने का. तूने बिगाड़ के रखा है उनको, बच्चों को, वाइफ पे बरसना चालू करो, फिर अपने माता पिता पे बरसो, हमने उनको लाड प्यार से बिगाड़ के रखा है बच्चे को. मतलब when you are angry, you don't know when to stop. You didn't know when to stop. It goes on. So I had no desire. And he starts exaggerating. He says he has broken all rules of civil life. शिवजी के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. He has broken all rules of civil. So when we are angry, what do? We exaggerate also. तू हमेशा ऐसा करती है, हमेशा you do like this. You always do like this. We start exaggerating. We start generalizing. He's doing the same thing. One small thing that Shivji did stand up. So he's broken all rules of civil. Okay. And then he says that yeah. So we also do the same thing. Right? We start saying irrelevant or false things sometimes. Have you ever done that? When you are criticizing somebody or you are screaming at somebody just to buttress your point, अपना point को ऐसा put the last nail into the coffin, आप झूठ भी बोलते हो, exaggerate भी करते हो, बच्चे ने जो नहीं किया है वो भी सुना देते हो, सबऑर्डिनेट ने जो नहीं किया है उसको भी बोल देते हो, अरे तुम तो हमेशा ऐसे हो, जब देखो कॉफी ब्रेक पे जाते रहते हो, ये करते हो, कौन है मेरे से बहस करना, आई एम टेलिंग यू आई एम लाइंग, ये सब भी होता है. So just imagine, see, you can see, I'm sure some of you can see yourself in this. ये दक्ष कौन है? मैं हूं. मैं हूं ये दक्ष. ये हम लोग को शास्त्र पढ़ के लगना चाहिए कि यार ये अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, नहीं मतलब समझने से ये मेरे लिए भी एप्लीकेबल है, पूरी तरह से लागू है मेरे लाइफ में, यू नो लाइक दैट. So then he starts now to escalate. He escalates and starts involving Brahma. He said, I was obliged to give my daughter, though I had no desire. मेरी कोई इच्छा नहीं थी इस मरकट को मेरी बेटी देने का, मेरा कोई इच्छा नहीं था, लेकिन पिताजी का प्रेशर देना पड़ा, फिर वो इंसल्ट करना चाहता. Now he goes to next level. He says he lives in, स्मशान में रहते हैं ये, अपने शरीर पे एशिज फैला के रहते हैं. He associates with ghosts, with demons, you know. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that Lord Shiva is actually so kind that he gives shelter to these creatures and gradually elevates them to spiritual consciousness. Even those who are in ghostly body, by associating with Lord Shiva, they get a better body and they get bhakti at some point of time. हमारे इस्कॉन मूवमेंट में भी हम लोग बहुत जन देखते हैं जो पहले शिव जी के उपासक थे. नॉट दैट यू नो खाली वो शिवलिंग पे जाके दूध चढ़ाया और यू नो कुछ मांगा. जेन्युइनली जो शिव जी के उपासक हैं, जो ओम नमः शिवाय का जाप करते हैं, जो कुछ मतलब एक जेन्युइन कुछ ये कर रहे हैं, आफ्टर सम टाइम मेनी ऑफ देम व्हेन दे आर सिंसियर इन शिव भक्ति, लॉर्ड शिवा कनेक्ट्स देम टू कृष्ण. बहुत लोग हैं हमारे मूवमेंट. So that is the nature of Lord Shiva, that he may live in crematorium because he is giving shelter to all these people who are living there. That is why he is living there, not because he is, you know, crazy. No, he is there to give shelter to everyone, like that. Then he says he cries like a madman. He laughs and cries like a madman. So Acharya explained he is mad with the love of God. He is mad with love, प्रेम भक्ति, प्रेम से वो प्रेम भक्ति से इतने he is so intoxicated by prema bhakti that is why he is laughing and crying. He says he is the most inauspicious creature. He says that the Shiva is the most inauspicious creature. He says Shiva by name only. Correct? नाम क्या शिव है? शिव का मीनिंग क्या है?
all auspicious.
All auspicious. कभी भी कुछ खराब चीज होता है तो हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं? शिव 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 बोलते हैं ना, शिव 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 शिव. और ऑस्पिशियसनेस लाने के लिए उनका नाम ही लेने से ऑस्पिशियस हो जाता है जगह. जो इनऑस्पिशियस चीज है, शिव जी का नाम लेने से ऑस्पिशियस हो जाता है. बोले खाली नाम के शिव है वो, ऐसे बोलते हैं. But the Acharyas explain that actually he calls him a Shiva. A Shiva. That means he is not auspicious. But Acharya explains a Shiva means there is no one more auspicious than him. A Shiva means उनके जैसा शिव और कोई है नहीं, like that. And final blow that he makes, he says, मतलब he has kind of subtly referred to his father. Subtly. ब्रह्मा जी को सटल रेफरेंस दिया ना कि आई वाज ऑब्लाइज्ड टू गिव माय ब्यूटीफुल एंड वेरी क्वालिफाइड डॉटर टू दिस पर्सन. ऐसा उन्होंने खाली इंडिकेशन दिया है, इनडायरेक्ट रेफरेंस दिया है. एंड में वो भी उन्होंने डायरेक्ट कर दिया. वो सरकास्टिकली बोलते हैं कि परमेष्टि, बिकॉज ऑफ परम. आई जस्ट रीड दैट वर्स. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. This is verse number 16. So he says, on the request of Parameshti, which is Lord Brahma. Parameshti ka literal meaning is supreme teacher. Brahma is called Parameshti because he is the supreme teacher. He is the first created living being and he has then created all living beings. Therefore, he is the supreme teacher. Brahma is the supreme teacher. तो उनका एक नाम है परमेष्टि. अभी आप अपने पिताजी के बारे में बात कर रहे हो तो आप बोलेंगे क्या कि डीजीएम साहब ने ऐसा बोला, बोलेंगे क्या? लाफा खाएंगे ना, ऐसा बोलेंगे तो। अब पिताजी को पिताजी बोलेंगे, पप्पा बोलेंगे, अप्पा बोलेंगे, जो भी बोलेंगे, you'll call him as father, but he calls him parameshti. Parameshti means what? Supreme teacher. Okay, so here also he is sarcastically calling his father Lord Brahma as parameshti, accusing him of being unintelligent. मतलब वो परमेष्टि जो है सुप्रीम टीचर, वो सरकास्टिकली बोल रहे हैं, सेइंग दैट ऑन द रिक्वेस्ट ऑफ लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा आई हैंडेड ओवर माय chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things. He's saying that this nasty person I gave to my daughter, I gave my daughter to this nasty person on the request of परमेष्टि. तो बता रहे हैं कि इतना बेवकूफों वाला काम करवाया किसने? सुप्रीम टीचर ने. तो उसमें भी वो पिताजी की तरफ भी अभी ऑफेंसिव हो गया. So what Prabhupada says over here is very interesting. He says that when you are angry, in anger, one forgets everything. When you are angry, you forget everything. सब भूल जाते हैं. कौन बाप है, कौन फादर इन लॉ है, कौन सन है, कोई कोई कुछ नहीं, कोई अपना डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं रहता. We don't remember who we are. We don't remember who the people in front of us. In front of us, see, in anger, sometimes you have taken so many decisions in life. Can you go, if you go back and you see so many decisions, वो तो गरम खून. बहुत मैं बोलन टाला, बोल दिया मैंने, मैं किसी से नहीं डरता, सिर्फ बात नहीं डरता मैं. ऐसा जो हम लोग जोश में आके, गुस्से में आके बोल देते हैं, और देन एक्ट इन हेस्ट एंड रिपेंट एट लीजर. मतलब जल्दबाजी में काम कर दो, बोल दो, और बड़े बड़े फुर्सत में उसके बारे में बता, यार ये मैंने क्या कर. So this is what he is doing. Prabhupada says in anger one forgets everything. So lesson for us from this chapter. What is the lesson? Don't get angry. And what is making you angry? Ego. How do you reduce your ego? Very difficult job. Reducing ego is not so easy. It's very tough. But if we come in the association of devotees like this, we come together, we hear Hari Katha, we keep on hearing these principles, we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we chant the holy names, we are taking shelter of holy names. We are not just chanting. मुझे वो तो तोता भी बोलता है. But when we as a devotee, we are trying to chant the holy name, we are taking shelter. Shelter का क्या मतलब? Whom do you take shelter of? Who takes shelter? Someone who is in trouble takes shelter. If you are perfectly honest, मैं किसका shelter क्यों लूँ भाई? लोग मेरे shelter लेते हैं, मैं बड़ा आदमी हूँ. नहीं, but if we take shelter, we take shelter of a greater person. We are taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. When we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then that act itself of chanting, अपना मेरे को कोई आपको बोलेगा, प्रभु जी, can you start chanting Hare Krishna from today? So what is the answer? मैं क्यों करूँ? मैं बाद में देखता हूँ. This is what our natural reaction is. Our ego stops us. But when we let go of that ego, अरे छोड़ो यार, छोड़ो, बहुत कर लिया ये ego, अपने आप को बहुत great समझना, great दिखाना, छोड़ो, बस हो गया. From this point onwards, I will not show ego. And we take shelter of the holy names, like Draupadi raised her hands and took full shelter of Lord Krishna, calling out his holy names, very helpless, really taking shelter, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So like this, when we take shelter, when we take shelter of the holy name, then we are able to perfect our lives. So remember that these people, all of us, when we have ego, that ego causes us to do wrong things. See, in the Gita, it is described there are 3 gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Only 3 are mentioned. Out of the 6 anarthas, 3 kind Krishna mentioned only three. Can mention all, no? Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. सब बोल सकते, जरूरत नहीं है, तीन ही बात काफी, और इन तीनों में से एक भी काफी. As gate to hell, lust can lead you to hell, anger can lead you to hell, greed can lead you to hell. This story is indicative how anger leads you to hell. इस स्टोरी के आगे आगे क्या क्या होता है हम लोग देखेंगे, बहुत कुछ होता है ये पास टाइम में. So like that. So finally he curses Lord Shiva. को श्राप देके जाते हैं, बोलते हैं कि Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of the devatas, he should not have a share in the oblations of sacrifice. जो sacrifice होता है, हम लोग जो भी यज्ञ करते हैं, वो यज्ञ का जो जो भाग है वो देवताओं को जाता है. तो he says कि शिव जी को कभी अभी आगे से he will never get share of oblations. So actually the Acharya has explained that this is very good, it is appropriate. जो परम वैष्णव है वो ऐसे अन्य देवताओं के साथ बैठ के मिल बांट के खाने का क्या मतलब है? He doesn't need it, doesn't want it, doesn't need it. So it's very good. Sharp was good. And finally he leaves the assembly. मतलब गुस्से में ऐसे stomping out of the room. How children sometimes they stomp out of the room and bang the door and go ऐसा ठाड़ करके डोर बैंग करके, मतलब गुस्सा जाते जाते भी गुस्सा दिखा के जाएंगे, ऐसा दरवाजा बैंग करके जाएंगे. So he goes stomping out of the assembly, and it's described that the members of the assembly, Lord Brahma, the Rishis, Indra, all these people try to stop him. They request him, don't be angry, Baba, यज्ञ चल रहा है, यज्ञ छोड़ के मत जाओ, ये inauspicious है. Please don't go. Please, they try to put him down. But जो व्यक्ति angry हुआ है, जिसका ego hurt हुआ है, किसी का नहीं. Have you noticed this? Have you seen? With your husband, with your wife, with your children, with your boss, with your colleagues, with our army on street. एक बार गुस्सा तो गुस्सा. I will not change. जहाँ मैं नहीं बदलेगा, मुझे नहीं सुनना किसी का, मीना है. ऐसे होते हैं हमारे लोग इस देश में, इस दुनिया में. These are people are. So, Prabhupada said that is the effect. So, in spite of all these requests, he left. Prabhupada says that is the effect of cruel anger. Why do we say cruel? What is cruel about anger? Anyone? Any guesses? What is cruel about anger? Anger में cruel क्या? हाँ? Unjustified. No.
Because it is, ये जो एंगर हुआ उसके बाद में जो होने वाला बहुत क्रूअल नहीं होने वाला है. It is going to.
It is cruel.
अपने आप को भी मतलब
हाँ, it is cruel because it is controlling you and making you do things which are going to have very bad consequences. You know, only a very cruel person can do that. No, knowing that इससे तुम्हारा नुकसान होने वाला है. Take it. So only a person who's cruel will make you do things which they know are going to hurt you in the long run. Correct? So cruel anger. So the last paragraph, I'll end with this. Last paragraph of the purport. One second. Yeah. Last paragraph of the purport says, yeah, actually we can see that lust, anger and passion makes a man crazy. Even though he may be as great as Daksha. मतलब तुम कितने भी बड़े व्यक्ति हो, this lust, anger, greed and all, they can destroy you. Okay. Then it says, the very name Daksha suggests that he was very expert in all material activities. But still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly person as Lord Shiva, he was attacked by these three enemies, anger, lust and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one should be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offenses towards the Vaishnava to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action. So like this, we understand that material anger and envy, material, this is materialistic, ये भौतिक स्तर पे है, ये गुस्सा, ये ईर्ष्या जो है, what anger and envy that he has towards Lord Shiva, this is completely, there's nothing spiritual about it. They have come there for a yajna, which is supposedly a spiritual activity, but वो यज्ञ पीछे रह गया. उसका ईगो ऊपर आ गया, सब कुछ मिट गया उसके बाद. We'll see how the India is destroyed very soon, next time. Okay? Material anger and envy leads to complete destruction. But when the Supreme Lord Krishna, when he shows anger in Damodar Leela, he becomes angry, he breaks the pot and he goes, runs away. When he shows anger, or when Yashoda Mai shows anger, goes with a stick behind him to, "Tekho theek karti hu," and he's afraid. That anger leads to a beautiful pastime. And that anger led to the liberation of Nalakover and Manigriv. So when the Lord shows anger, or when the Lord shows any emotion, it is always beautiful. That is why we come and we listen to Hari Katha. Because that Hari Katha, when we listen about, Prabhupada says, if we hear about the Lord's lust, your lust will go away. You hear about the Lord's anger, your anger will go away. You see, how many of you have seen Nursing Dev movie? Anyone see? नरसिंह देव का जो मूवी आया था, हाँ, तो नरसिंह देव का एंगर देख के आपको समझ कि एंगर क्या होता है, रियल एंगर. इधर वो एंगर देख के आई थिंक मैं ठीक हूँ, मैं चुप बैठता हूँ. So like that, so we really understand that whatever the Lord does is transcendental. Don't allow the miserable qualities like anger, greed, lust, envy, pride, all these qualities, they're all around you. They're all inside you. But don't allow them to come in between the beautiful Lord and his pastimes. The holy name of the Lord. Don't allow these qualities to stop you from taking shelter of chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. When this disconnect हो गया, now we will all sing the Damodar